All right, there we go.
Whoa.
I got that started already.
All
so
right.
I go back and I cut it out. So
Okay. Want me to go ahead and hit it?
Sure. That was real.
That sounded good.
It did.
I guess cans are more of an audio kind of drinking vessel than bottles.
I was questioning whether I was going to drink today.
Too late, huh?
Yep. I came in, you
Gave
already
in.
had the beer.
Oh, yeah. And you couldn't have backed out then.
Of course not.
Would have been rude. All right. Should I try to guess which way is down? And here we go. Hello and
Has
welcome.
down ever been to the right
Nah.
for anything?
Just a little dyslexic, that's all. You're trying to, dyslexia shame me?
Well, I'm thinking about like the old TVs with the volume knob. It was
I don't
always
know.
crank it up to the right.
I don't know. I just have a little kind of block in my head. Hello and welcome to the Moon Underwater.
Not
I'm
that we've started or anything.
Kelly Daniels, who've just been diagnosed with some kind of dial dyslexia, it turns out. I turn dials the wrong way.
Yep.
Sometimes. And
I'm Steve Jones.
Yeah.
The guy who diagnosed.
And you always turn dials the right way. Is that correct?
Obviously.
Yeah. Well, how come I'm the one that's in charge of dial turning in this duo? That doesn't make sense.
I'm the real genius.
Oh, boy.
Oh!
What?
Boy, that came out early.
Yeah, man.
Segue.
So this is probably going to be our last of a run of what I would probably call mediocre, lowbrow movies that we have kind of a fondness for some reason.
Yep.
And in this case, neither one of us had seen the movie, but Val Kilmer recently died at the time of this recording, and I always thought he was a cool guy. He seemed like a cool guy, good actor. One thing I liked about him is that he had that star in 100 romantic leading role looks.
Okay.
He was a good actor, but he didn't. He did all kinds of different roles. Sometimes he was the bad guy. Sometimes he was the good guy. He did a lot of really funny ones. This is in the funny zone. I saw an airplane-like movie called Top Secret.
Oh, it was really good.
And I thought that was hilarious, but I had a feeling it wouldn't really hold up on later watching.
You don't say.
So I have heard that Real Genius was quite a good movie and worth watching. So we watched it just without checking first. And I haven't really talked to you about how you feel about it. And I guess I could just jump right out and say I didn't hate it. It wasn't like torture. It wasn't a great movie.
It was really stupid and really fun.
Yeah. It was fun. So I could start off with something my 13-year-old kid said about 15 minutes into the movie.
Okay.
This is a direct quote, and I wrote it down. He's like, I thought you said this was funny.
And he's deadpan. He's
no, he doesn't. He doesn't
no
go
smile,
for. He doesn't go for yucks when he says lines like that. He's
said this was fun.
yeah. And it's true. There
has a
really
point.
wasn't a whole lot of laughs, but
Did you do your Kelly Daniels thing and pay attention to the opening credits and song?
no, I don't remember really. Wait, go ahead.
Yes.
Well, okay, so you
It
got
wasn't
one
the
on
song.
me.
It was the opening credits where they started with cave paintings, and it was like cave paintings with bows and arrows, and then shooting the bows and arrows at stuff, then a gun.
So animated
then a cannon.
cave paintings that turned animated?
No,
or?
it was like all drawings.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, that's right.
And
That's
then
right.
and then it's
It's human beings kind of learning technology.
and then everything gets made into a weapon, basically.
Oh, very clever.
Come on. This was the Blue Velvet. Hey, we're seeing that there's more going on and it's ugly under the surface, and they're zooming in on the ants doing the thing.
But I don't think the ant in Blue Velvet was during the credits.
It was in the beginning.
Or was it? It was in the beginning.
Yeah.
But
Might as well have been. I was like, all right, well, that was weird.
yeah, I wasn't paying that much attention to that kind of early animation or drawing kind of thing.
They switched to engineering drawings at some point.
Yeah.
And submarine, like they
Nice
went up
job.
through the
Nice close read of Real Genius.
Oh, yeah, well,
You know,
somebody had to do it.
1980, yeah, 1982's Real Genius.
Yeah.
And okay, that's good.
So to me, as I'm watching, I'm like, yeah, that's what this movie's about. And I had seen it a long time ago.
Okay, so you kind of remembered, and
Could have been pretty stoned. It's a distinct possibility because I remember thinking it was really funny.
I think you should get drug tested now that you
Probably.
mentioned that.
I probably should.
Gotta do the P test, and
Right.
You don't want somebody who's doing data migration being stoned. That's dangerous.
Very.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could
Don't
migrate the wrong.
data stoned.
You could migrate it wrong to the wrong place.
That'd be bad.
What if you did that?
I,
Then you know.
you couldn't undo it.
Yeah,
Actually,
it just goes
Did
to
a little of that this week.
Oh, nice.
Test system though, it was fine.
Okay,
No
nice.
problem. Data didn't end up like they
by
wanted.
the way, all of our many YouTube fans are having a treat today because we are not in our usual table,
It's true.
and we're at our usual bar, but the camera is facing the pool table
Yeah.
instead of the Mississippi River.
Now we've broken the 180-degree rule, which
don't-
now everybody breaks.
I don't think we did. I don't know that you understand the 180 rule. You explained it to me. It
Yeah.
means a close-up of you and then going 180 degree around to do a close-up of me, and we're having a conversation.
Yes, but no. If we were showing somebody the entire, like you wouldn't normally show the entire bar. Anyway,
Oh, I see. The 180 rule is just...
I don't think it's a thing anymore.
Okay.
It was when I was in some video editing class 25 years ago.
Well, I hope that our many film fans out there will send us notes about what the 180 rule really is and
Yep.
whether it is, because I don't really know. I don't quite understand.
I blame Kembrew McLeod, my professor at the time. And
Oh, wow.
Also for having a killer name.
Oh, that guy.
Besides that,
But also he's incompetent, clearly.
well, maybe.
Doesn't know how to make a film.
I don't know.
He's
Maybe he did.
And he doesn't understand angles. You know,
Well, it was a thing, I think.
180 degree rule.
Did
All
they
right.
break that in this film?
I did not. I don't know what it is. I still don't understand what the 180 degree rule is.
Maybe we just have to have a meeting on that.
We should. Okay, I swore the last time you told me it was that if two people are having a conversation face to face, and the 180 is showing one of them, and then just flipping it around and showing the other when they
I
talk.
feel like that happens
And that's-
all the time now.
Yeah. That
So
does.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
How
why
many
you.
beers did I had when I said that?
You probably 9
Oh,
and a couple of shots and
How much
fireball.
wine?
You're a fireball guy.
I am. I
all
like
of
cinnamon.
You.
Yeah.
Oh, you are a fireball.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no, but
If somebody gave you a fireball, you would take it.
push came to shove. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
cinnamon,
people did give us fireballs once. I think in the Iowa City bar.
We definitely.
I
had
think the
Fireball.
tavern, those guys brought some kind of
The
a
Vine.
cinnamon.
Yeah.
The Vine Tavern.
That was fun.
Some guys just came up with some shots of cinnamon flavored something.
Yep. Yeah, I like that.
The good old days.
I used to get a pack of cinnamon extra every day on my way to school when I was in high school.
So
Chew
you
a
had
pack
nice.
of gum a day.
So it's like good for your breath.
Yep.
Case you
And
ended
everybody
up.
knew I
case
had
you ended up
gum.
making a out. You're like, yeah.
Yeah. My senior year, I did a lot. But that's
Of
not how I had
making
to go.
out?
Yeah.
Just like these
I had a
brains.
girlfriend.
Just like these brains in these in this
Oh, are
movie.
we getting
So
back to this?
We are getting back
Right.
to it because I do feel like this is a good antidote to Jurassic Park, where the representation of the smart person was Newman,
Yep.
and then that annoying girl.
Oh, wait a minute.
well,
Alan
this-
Grant's not smart?
no, those guys were
Doctor?
smart. Okay, I guess I don't know. The computer nerd, and these guys weren't computer nerds; they were physicists.
They might as
kinda.
well have been.
They were making a laser,
Yeah.
a literal space laser,
Yeah.
and
Star Wars.
yeah.
The opening commercial for it
Yeah,
was hilarious.
Oh,
Like
yeah, that
zapping
was
the guy
pretty
in
good.
the chair.
that was
Oh,
good.
it was amazing.
Yeah. And I don't know. I guess we could summarize it. The weapon that the military is trying to make, and then this smarmy professor is in charge of this thing to come up with a laser to where they can go up into space and then find the coordinates of an individual human being anywhere on the planet, apparently.
Right, with the tracking mirror.
And there's a mirror, although they would have a 180-degree issue there because you could only shoot them if they're on the half of the Earth that is facing the satellite, right?
Depends on the kind of satellite.
Oh.
There's some that are geostationary and some that have like an orbit where they go around.
Yeah. Well, they'll eventually get there. But I
Yeah.
mean, while they do the shot, they have to be that spaceship that they have.
In 1985, nobody knew that's how satellites worked.
Yeah.
And so that was a total, like that plot hole was completely glossed over.
But anyway, it'll...
See, by the way, this is where I say you go, that doesn't make any sense.
I think it makes total sense. What didn't make sense is those nerds getting laid. Sorry.
Oh, we're already jumping to that? That's like the gold.
No, I'm just previewing it.
Oh.
We're gonna back up now to the laser. But the idea of having a weapon that you can kill one individual,
that's a good idea.
It is a good idea, and it's also called drones, right?
Well,
like, they're not that good, but they could be better.
Right. Yeah.
But
I like that there was a guy piloting the spacecraft to fire the laser.
Yeah.
That didn't make any sense.
No, you didn't need to do that.
Right.
Wait, they didn't have drones in those days, though, but they had satellites.
Satellites.
Yeah.
And basically, that was. Oh, that's why it wasn't a satellite.
It was a ship.
It was a ship. But they were gonna make it into a satellite.
Yeah.
I was too focused on the commercial delivering.
So
exactly
it was. You
that.
thought it was real at first. The movie made it seem like it was like science fiction, and then they zap this guy while he's like, having his tea or something afternoon, and the guy that's serving it to him just looks away, like the waiter looks away, and he looks back and he's gone.
It's just
and
a hole.
There's a hole in his chair. But it's a commercial, and one of the generals or something says, "This isn't right." And what was his? And so he resigns on the spot, and then they go, "Well, we're going to have to."
They're in a very
assassinate
sinister-looking room,
Yeah.
right? The room is like, it's the one that you see, in all the movies where there's like TVs around them, but these are old CRTs, and it's very dark. The table's dark, and there's generals sitting around a table talking, and it feels a little Austin Powersy.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of funny, but yeah, we're gonna have to assassinate him.
They're going to assassinate this high-level official for saying this is too much. I still don't know what his big complaint was. The technology to assassinate an individual like a Saddam Hussein or whoever you want to get. I mean, it's creepy because
they're going to do it. Once you have it, you're going to do it.
Oh, yeah. And who knows, maybe, sure, you get somebody that we can all agree is a bad guy the first time, but at what point does that start getting like, well, I don't know if we should have got that guy.
Right.
Oh, well, too late.
Well, yeah.
It's so whoever happens to be in charge can just pick off anybody.
True.
But anyway, but still, I just don't think they're not going to come up. I don't know. I'm getting right to the central philosophical question of this movie, and that is, has society ever purposely not developed a weapon because of the moral implications?
Never.
They always do, because if they don't, here's the argument.
Who is?
The other one's going to do
Yeah.
it. Like, if we don't go full on for AI, China's going to go full on for AI. And if they get it first, they can do things we can't do. And then they'll get an advantage, and it'll be a military advantage. And we can't do it. We cannot slow down on this quest for technological superiority, especially when it comes to weapons. And also, when you look at the history of technology, it is the history of military and weapon
and
development.
military application,
Yeah, and even Charles Darwin, the Voyage of the Beagle, where he did all of the origin of species stuff, that was a military ship.
Yeah.
And it was funded by as a military kind of like intelligence thing. And it said, "Oh yeah, put the egghead on the military
Sure.
boat. See what he does. Maybe
Right.
maybe he'll come up with something that's useful to us."
God.
And that's how it's always worked.
Wow.
The money has always been on the military, and it's always funded the research, and the research has always had to just suck it up, and that's what this is about. But these guys had a lot of really, like, unquestioned sort of scruples about, oh my God, they're using our ultra-powerful laser as a weapon? What a shock.
What else were they going to do with it? And that's what I haven't, like, wait a minute. Hold on. That's the part that I was like, Kelly's going, this doesn't make any sense.
Oh my God, my friend at Augustana College, Jim Van Howe, he's a physics professor. One of his first kind of big research breakthrough for like him, you know, being able to get tenure and all that, you have to do some kind of research, was figuring out how to make a laser, like a certain kind of laser. And it struck me that it was definitely not like some military weapon. It just seemed like it was some way to
not
measure
yet.
shit. But
not yet.
Not yet.
That tank is this far away.
I need
right?
I need to talk to Jim about this, and maybe maybe
he was duped, and he doesn't even realize it when he goes back to his lab.
Yeah.
All of his equipment's going to be gone.
Yeah, that probably will happen. Although this was like 15 years ago that he was telling me this. So I think that ship
probably
has
been gone.
sailed.
He hasn't been back in the lab since then. And when he goes back in, it won't be good.
Yeah. Too bad. Poor Jim. Got taken advantage of once again.
I have worked for a number of
weapons.
Aerospace and defense.
Can you tell us some secret classified information?
No.
No. We don't have a very big audience.
I could tell you.
I think. Yeah.
Then I'd have to kill you.
Right.
Yeah.
That,
you know.
And then you'd have to kill all our listeners, which you might be able to track down through Spotify's interactive, not interactive, but their dashboard.
Oh, we'll
all the streams, I think. I don't know how.
We'll get them.
One after another.
Just like when the scammers
like
call.
All 16 of them.
And they say, your IP address is saying this. I'm like, how do you have my phone number from my IP address?
Yeah.
Go, well, we have to go.
Yeah.
Right.
Woof.
Yeah. Some of them, some of the federal aerospace and defense manufacturers I've worked for are more organized than others. Others are in, complete disarray. None of them have generals working with them sitting around tables, as far as I can tell, and I work with engineering a lot. So that's
a friend of mine's from high school and junior high, good old Rob Perhatch, the great Belchauser.
Wow.
That was his. We played Dungeons and Dragons together and smoked pot together.
At the same time?
I hope I didn't get him fired from whatever he's doing. I don't know. Not really. Maybe, but it was more Dungeons and Dragons, and then we got a little older and a little bit of
I never played.
Pot smoking started. But his dad was a trippy guy. I kind of liked him as a dad of friends, and the mom wasn't around. I think she died, so I think it was a kind of a sad household in that way. But the dad was a trippy guy, really cryptic, really smart, and he worked at a place called Norton Air Force Base in Southern California, which looks exactly like the setting of this movie. Because, I mean, it's
probably
desert.
Is,
yeah. And my friend told me that his dad was working in top secret kind of, the details for something called the MX missile.
Okay.
Which was just a, 1980s. A
medium range ballistic missile, probably.
Whatever. It was just a big kind of workhorse missile that was used in military stuff. And he was one of the, I don't know what he did with it, but he was, he was, he used to drink just sort of like Coors Light from morning till night every day and just sit around in his underwear and wife beater shirt while the kids came in. And he would say cryptic, like smart guy stuff to us that we didn't understand.
That's fantastic.
And actually one of the very first times I got stoned, I was like sitting in the living room and just completely out of it and just like almost hallucinating. And Rob's dad had come home, and I was sitting in the dad chair.
Oh, no.
And he kind of walked up to me and was giving me the stink eye, but I was too stoned to realize it. Rob had to like go, Kelly. And I have to get up. And anyway.
That's amazing.
It was nerve-wracking. But yeah, he took us to pizza one time, me and Rob, and it was just this total like dive bar that had a pizza joint attached, and you could tell, oh, this is his hangout. And so he's taking the kids for pizza, but it's his joint. Yeah, and he just bought
it's like
us
us here.
Oh, totally.
It's like, oh, yes, it's wing night, guys.
Yeah.
We're going to our bar.
Yeah, good old Rob and his dad. And
that's crazy.
And his brother was the one that had the pot, and that's how we could...
Did he know?
I don't think he was feeding us the pot. I think Rob was probably stealing it.
No, I mean the old man.
That we were getting stoned?
Yeah.
I don't know. He was pretty in his own world. I don't think he was paying super close attention to the goings on with his kids. Probably by design, he didn't want to know.
It's like he knew, but just
here's
like
the thing.
Unspoken thing.
He eventually stopped drinking, and he got into. In California, there's all these like self-help stuff. It was really big, and they were very culty kind of things. Scientology was really starting to take off then. But he got into one called EST, E-S-T, and it means something.
I've heard of this.
And but they would do like 8-hour-long seminars, and you'd have to pay for it. And but that kind of like, that also coincided with him not drinking anymore, I think, and getting into this kind of like this culty self-help stuff. So that's it. So the movie reminded me of that because pretty much same thing going on.
Yeah, we didn't get, so going back to there's the professor who's kind of driving the project along with the students who are in college.
Yeah, one of them's 15.
Okay.
Mitch is 15.
Mitch Taylor.
Yeah, and he's the wunderkind, and the other ones are college students, and Val Kilmer is, what was his name? I don't remember his name for some reason, but he's a senior, brilliant, but he decided at some point during his college experience that it wasn't worth it, and he's just being a goofball now.
Right.
He's brilliant, but unreliable, and Mitch... So they're all working for this professor so they can build this weapon, but they don't know it's a weapon.
He's telling them that they need to do this in order to pass the class.
Yeah.
He's telling...
In order to get to graduate, the idea that this professor can decide on a whim whether this one of the best students they've ever had can get a degree or not.
He's one of the top 10 brains in the country.
And the idea that this one guy could just like undercut his college career like that is, even in 1982, I don't buy it. Nowadays for sure you're like, oh my God, this guy's so corrupt.
Right.
But and he's using federal grants to remodel his house.
So the deal for the professor was not that was very scant on the details
about how he was getting
any
using
sort of a deal. It was like, well, he was, but why somebody would do that for him? Like there's some fairly big gaps. It's like, oh, we're just going to do this. It's like, wait, why? This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So see, this doesn't make any sense.
No, I don't think it was the kind of movie that makes literal sense when it comes to how the government and higher ed functions.
So there was a recurring thing that was coming up, and I have it next in my notes. Our professor continually has dogs coming up to him.
A dog.
Is it a singular dog?
It's a singular dog.
What?
It's
that never pays off.
The dog comes up to him at the end and he pets it.
Right, but it never really paid off as a joke.
Yeah.
It's a very long setup for a punchline that sucked.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, my son was saying the same thing. What's up with that dog?
Yeah.
I
thought there was a better payoff.
He doesn't like dogs,
I remember there being a better payoff.
And he doesn't like popcorn.
And So that's another fucking thing that doesn't make sense. Who doesn't like popcorn?
That guy. He's
No.
that you don't like that. That guy is everything that you love in life. That guy doesn't love. But he screws the hot girl that's like the general's daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Or the,
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, what did she see in him? And, that's kind of, in the currency of that movie, that makes him sort of cool. And they're trying to say he's not cool.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
Yeah. I thought it would be used against him as a kind of blackmail thing, but it never came up. It was just that, okay, this guy has sex. That seems to be the only, oh,
that
my
he
God.
was normal.
Wow. Yeah. So there was that.
But he was otherwise normal except for the fact that he was a total asshole for no reason.
Yeah. It didn't make any sense why he was such an ass.
And
why
house
he treated his...
that they were like making a big deal that he was working on.
Yeah. Wasn't that great a house?
Great?
And it was also in the middle of the desert.
In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and it's a kind of a middle-class house.
But then in the ending, it makes sense.
This is Southern California. That house is probably $5 million.
That's true.
Not in 1982.
But it makes the ending make sense because it was that far out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, you needed that.
Wow, so that was a really long setup for that joke.
You have the bad professor. You have Val Kilmer, who's the fun guy. He's the kind of guiding light. There's nervous Mitch, who's only 15. A huge part about the movie is his his sexual adventures with grown-up women, which seem pretty sketchy. Then you also have... I was just telling the listeners, thank you, about the whole kind of dodgy aspect of, hey, man, it was 1982.
85.
85 is when it came out? Oh, 1985.
Allegedly.
It was a year in which a feature film, major budget film, can have one of its central plot arcs, the sex life of a 15-year-old boy who's screwing like full-on grown-up women, including one that was probably in her 30s or 40s, who is really aggressively on him because he didn't
sleep with her.
No, he didn't, but she tried her best, and then he ends up having an affair with the. Even my son, again, he was like, isn't she like 19?
Right.
Just 15. And then this college student who actually looked more like 26, 27. Maybe because she's autistic, she was allowed to. They didn't say autism in those days, but like she was some kind of a mental thing where she was smart but crazy, which not quite Rain Man, but
I was going to say,
kind of
it didn't exist until 1988 because that's when Rain Man came out.
Yeah.
I'm throwing that.
Have you seen
year out there.
What is the movie with Robert Downey Jr. plays the actor who is playing, he's doing a character actor, Tropic Thunder.
Oh, my God.
Where he plays it in blackface.
It's so good.
It's
so good.
And they're talking about trying to playing a role and getting the Academy Award or not. And he goes, the problem is you went full tard. You never go full tard, man.
Oh, yeah.
You don't.
That's Ben Stiller, yeah. Yeah. Oh, my. It is.
So she didn't go full tard.
Full retard is what the movie says.
That's what. Yeah. But she went, this character that had sex with a minor.
Full perv.
Full perv. Maybe it adds up to one whole person. You're half retarded and half perverted.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You got to come up. Reperverted.
That's in my notes.
Reterverted.
Oh.
Reterverted?
We just English.
Wait, what would be the pertarded?
Pertarded. Oh. It's got a nice ring to it.
Yeah, pertarded. And it makes, I think it's a legitimate identity, and I don't think we should look down on it.
You shouldn't. That is so pertarded.
You. Not you personally, but that's how you use it in a sentence. Like, yeah, she's a pertard.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh.
Pretty damn petarded, that move.
I can't believe nobody's thought of this before.
Eh,
How many
well,
PBRs does it take?
Not
About
even one.
1 1/4.
I didn't even have a sip of my second.
What?
Not yet. Just
You're missing
pouring.
out.
I'm in the pouring zone.
All right, so I got a question for you as you pour. Did nerds exist before 1985? Or was that like the kickoff? Because,
No.
by the way, she was in the female, and I don't remember her name. God, I suck at taking notes. She was in Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh. Okay. Was
So-
she a nerd in that too?
Indeed, she was.
Oh, so she's typecast.
Right. She did the 2 movies. She is Canadian and became a teacher.
My favorite part. Wait.
I looked her
In
up.
real life.
Mm-hmm. IRL.
Cool. Cool. Never mind.
All right.
I was gonna. My favorite part of Revenge of the Nerds, when the nerd kind of I don't know the exact technical term except rapes the
God.
rapes the female, one of the female characters, and it's celebrated by the whole movie. Do you know what what I'm talking about?
You know what? It's
So,
been so
Revenge
long, and I was a
so the
kid.
nerds are against the jocks, right?
Always.
And the jock guy, the main jock, the handsomest
The
jock,
Trilambs are the
Yeah.
nerds, and the Alpha Betas are the
Alpha
jocks.
Beta. This guy is he's the lead jock, and he's got the lead cheerleader as the girlfriend, and it's a Halloween costume deal, and the nerd puts on the costume that the boyfriend was wearing and fucks his girlfriend when she thinks it's him because he's wearing the guy's
that's definitely
costume. But as
Those movies went.
that she loved it, and of course, because
Wait, really?
oh yeah, she's like, oh my god, no wonder you're so good, like nerds. And he goes, and the answer was, well, because those guys only think about sports, but nerds only think about sex. Which is not a bad line.
Post-rape line.
But
What-
it's a-
what we're laughing at
It's
here.
just one of
Pointing that
those
out.
movies that doesn't. Today's morality doesn't, just like, and this one in a much less way. Like, a grown woman having sex with a 15-year-old boy is not quite as outrageous as the Revenge of the Nerds.
Well, they couldn't reverse Mitch Taylor and her.
No,
in the-
if Mitch Taylor was a girl, and it was 20-something-year-old guy, or
Right.
certainly like a 30, 40-year-old man trying to get with her, it would be gross. But yeah, so there's that. There's
Yeah.
that aspect.
Yeah. So nerds did or did not exist before 1985?
I think they have. They did, but it was like, did gay people exist? They were in the closet, because if they came out, they would be persecuted.
Closeted nerds.
Yeah. They
But in the 80s,
they would get beat
normalized
up. Yeah, and in the 80s, and now they are our dread overlords.
It's true.
They're the Musks and the Zuckerbergs and stuff.
The
That's
Joneses.
you're the dread overlord.
Yep. I do what I can.
Yep. It's Bill Burr's, one of his jokes that he kind of tells and recycles all the time, that Bill Burr's thing is, don't
I don't know which one's me,
touch
bro.
my
Is this
beer.
me?
I don't know. That one's you, yeah.
All right.
He's like, and it's always kind of directed against women, and that, all these women, all these feminists, they wanted to get rid of, they put all their energy into, sort of canceling and taking away the power of the jocks. And it turns out that the nerds were the ones they should have been afraid of the whole time. And he makes this, I don't know.
Decent point.
I don't know where this is me and where this is him, kind of like my own thoughts about it and melding with his, but it does strike me that super smart people, like being in charge, I would rather just have a medium intelligence, affable, good-looking person in charge, because they're more cheerful, they don't have a score to settle usually, and they're pretty optimistic because everybody has treated them well throughout their whole life. Like, everybody's nice to good-looking people.
That's true.
And so you're just like, people are nice. Life is great. And I think that makes a good leader in a way that super smart person who's always been picked on and never got laid and has always been on the social kind of outs.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Is gonna, like, that's not a good person to be in charge. That's a good person to build your weapons.
Yeah.
But not to make the decisions. So that's my take on leadership. Go with the medium
nerds?
Intelligence. You got to get rid of. You got to put those nerds back in their place.
Yeah.
In the basement, making the weapons, but don't let them come out.
All
much.
right. Fine.
They shouldn't.
Guess where I stay most of the day.
In a basement.
Yeah. I came upstairs about
Your
1 o'clock
basement.
today.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that it was roughly 72 degrees out.
Yeah, it was warm today.
I was freezing.
In the
This
basement.
is the time of year. Normally the basement in the winter is warmer than the summer because of the way that it's insulated. And in the summer, it's colder because of the air and everything else. And today I had like jacket on and, I was like, man, it was raining when I went downstairs. I was like, it's going to be terrible when I go up. I go up, the sun's out, it's gorgeous. Leave to come here, it starts raining again.
Yeah. It's your
That's how it
fault.
goes. All right, so on the movie front.
Yeah, let's talk about the movie, shall we?
What did you make of the montages?
I thought they were like, I don't know.
Great 80s montages.
Yeah, it was an 80s movie, and it was, the montage. What were some of the montages? Did you note them?
They're working on the lasers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have
the songs,
to do that.
I don't know the songs. I mean, but they had there were several of them. That's the one that stands out.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I know what to do. We'll use ice.
Yeah.
Because they decided to make ice in the dorms.
Yeah.
We got to talk about that too.
Yeah.
Is now the time?
Sure.
So, I felt bad. I felt kind of bad for the bad guy in the movie. One of the
Kent.
bad guys.
Oh, yeah, we didn't bring up Kent. Kent is the bootlicker guy who is always kissing up to the professor, but the professor just abuses. The more he kisses ass to him, the more he abuses him. And, he ruined Val Kilmer's laser.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was pretty mean, but they
right. He like melted it down by moving something.
No, he put grease on the lens.
Oh, he did.
And that, like, does something to it.
Oh.
It makes the laser shoot out and, like, refract. That's
that's
my
good.
word.
All right.
It's my word, not theirs. But it's a scientific word. It's like when light goes and it goes in, like...
Your word is retarded.
Nice.
Yep.
Kind of nice. Kind of offensive, but...
Well, if you were pertarded, it would be.
Did you say pertarded? Or I thought you just said retard.
No.
I don't think I'm a... am I a pertarded? I don't think so. I don't feel like I fit. Maybe one of those two, but not both.
So what other montages did we have?
There
was no volleyball. They left that to Top Gun.
No. I don't know. I know there were montages.
It felt very 80s.
Yeah.
So there's a movie that I will admit freely to absolutely loving, and it is The Muppets. One with Jason Segel and Amy Adams. First of all, my wife knows this. I could watch Amy Adams watch paint dry. But that movie
You've mentioned that to me before.
I have. That movie is amazing. And they also have an 80s montage, and they call it out by name.
Yeah.
Oh, it's time for an 80s montage.
Yeah.
And it's the travel montage. Anyway,
my
movie's great.
What I think of is it's one of the South Park movies, but I think it's Team America.
Oh, so yeah.
And
Trey
it's
Parker
got
and
the
Matt
song called Montage.
Oh, yeah.
We got a montage.
Still funny.
Kind of like every little day you get a little better. Montage. And
Oh, yeah.
so Anyway, so there was montages, and it was a boilerplate kind of 80s movie, I suppose.
Totally boilerplate 80s movie, including the fact that our heroes, the underdogs, they do some stupid stuff. So, like I mentioned earlier, they decided to put ice in the dorm, and they're all sliding around.
They covered the floor of the dorm in ice, right?
Perfectly smooth ice somehow.
Yeah. So everybody was like shooting down the stairway.
That was the part. I'm like, wait a minute. You're going to break your neck.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
A slide.
Yeah, so think about the insurance risk.
That's when I realized I'm fucking old.
Yeah.
Because instead of like, man, that looks like fun, it's like, oh my God, does that look like that would hurt?
They're going down in toboggans and stuff like that.
And then just on 2 feet and then falling when they get down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're being kind of mean to Kent, and then Kent was not real happy about the ice. And I'm like,
I wouldn't be either.
Why wouldn't be either?
Yeah.
And so,
why'd you do this,
like,
man?
They were
but
really
he's a buzzkill. You can't. If you're in the dorm, though, you got to kind of go with the flow, man. You got to relax.
Did you ever live in a dorm?
No.
I didn't either.
No. I lived in an apartment. I went to San Francisco State.
Yep.
And I had a chance to either live in a dorm on campus or live in the city in an apartment. And I just lived in the city. So it was very much a city experience for me. And, and I went to college on the side.
Yeah.
But mainly the education was just moving from Orange County, California to San Francisco. And I got to live in that city back when you could live in it as a student I paid $300 a month rent on Haight Street.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I lived with good old Brett Harmony and Shannon Burke.
Nice.
Oh man, we had so much fun. Yeah, it was good. And also our other roommate, our older roommate, name was John. I don't remember his last name, but he was the guy that worked for the airport.
Oh.
I told you about this when we were flying, and he would just sometimes he would get a free flight in first class.
Go standby. Yeah.
Yeah, and he would just hop in like with a buddy who he worked with, and they would just fly from San Francisco to L.A. and then just fly straight back, and he would just get a couple free drinks in a comfortable seat.
As a kid, I flew when I was 13 years old to Brussels for 1 day.
Really?
And flew home. My dad flew the airplanes.
Just so you could hang out with Dad?
There was something going on. It was August. And the Grand Place in Brussels was filled. They fill it with flowers for like a week or two. I don't know. And he had just started flying international. He thought it was really cool. You guys got to come with. And we got business class on the way over and first class on the way home. We were there for about like 20-something hours, 28 hours. And, did a bus tour, went out to dinner, went to bed, got up, flew home.
That's pretty cool, though.
It was fucking awesome.
It cost you nothing, and you were flying at the...
It cost something, but not like it's like...
Yeah.
That's
so cool.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah. Never did it again. I used to bug him to bid. I'm like, I really wanted to go to Tokyo, and he was flying an airplane that they would...
And he was just like, nah. I already did that.
It's so far. I'm like, it pays way better, right? He's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't, London's super close. That's double the distance. It's so easy to just be done with it.
Yeah.
So, he didn't
want to do it.
Didn't want to do it. He did it he'd gone a couple of times. A couple months he would get stuck with it and be mildly annoyed. And then when he got senior, it was like, nope, we're good.
So you weren't in dorms either?
No, I lived in a fraternity house. Frat we definitely did not ever call it that because it's an Iowa thing, maybe. Because I've heard other people refer to it who are in fraternities as frats.
They didn't say frat?
You don't call your country a...
A what? A cunt?
Right?
Nice.
So that was it was nails on a blackboard. So no, I went through Rush before school, and there was a couple spots to live in, I was in temporary housing because I applied so late the day before I graduated, and ended up living in for 3 years. And then I got an apartment with a buddy of mine my senior year.
Nice.
Yeah. I liked it. Food was catered in basically every day.
Until you guys were defeated by the nerd frat, right?
Probably.
And
I was secretly, I was
girl-
a closeted
somebody-
nerd.
yeah,
at that
somebody had sex with your girlfriend dressed as you.
time. Definitely.
And that must have hurt.
That is.
Because she liked it better with the other guy.
We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
She did like it better than the other guy.
Yeah. Wow, that's painful.
That's rapey.
I'm glad that you're better, though, now. You've
yeah.
gotten over it.
Well,
The wounds are still there. They'll always be there.
Yeah,
right?
well.
They'll always.
Yeah.
But day after day,
They
kind
shape
of
me.
You know what doesn't kill you makes you weaker.
Yeah. Makes you really pissed off.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so, I mean.
That explains. You joined the nerds after
I
that.
did.
Because you go, the nerds are the guys that are going to put my costume on and then screw my girlfriend. She's going to like it better. Why not be a nerd? Can't beat them, join them.
I was definitely.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But then.
Makes a lot of sense.
There's a lot of like tall athletic people in the fraternity I was in too.
Yeah.
That was no good.
No, you don't want that.
No.
You don't want those guys stalking around with
I
their long
wanted
legs.
to smoke a lot of cigarettes and drink a lot of beer.
Yeah.
Camel Lights.
Those guys
Sorry,
weren't doing
Mom.
that?
No.
The jocks?
No, there was a few of
I
us
felt like
that
jocks would drink and smoke. Like they weren't
not by
the
1998.
Jocks, yeah, the jocks in the 80s were like not like today's
No.
jocks.
Yeah. I mean, I think baseball players still smoked in the dugouts
Yeah.
in those days.
I
right?
think in the 80s there was like certain baseball players who were constantly on cocaine. There was one
Darryl Strawberry.
Yeah, there was
Jose
one
Canseco.
There was one pitcher who pitched a
Allegedly.
no-hitter on LSD. And what was his
So
name?
who else tried that?
I think that was the only. Yeah, I mean, he must have gotten to a groove. That's all I got to say. I can believe it.
Really?
Yeah, I was on mushrooms or maybe acid, and I played a. I don't know if I told you this story, but
No.
I think I did. It was the movie Wild at Heart. Did I? Because we were talking about David Lynch, and the movie Wild at Heart, I think it was mushrooms, and we went to a movie, which is the stupidest thing to do on mushrooms. But
It is.
I know we didn't know.
Allegedly.
But I went into the movie theater, and it was a double feature of some noir movie and then Wild at Heart. But before the movie, I was playing a video game called Tempest.
Oh, yeah.
You remember
what a
that one?
great game.
Geographic, these shapes, and you have to kind of crawl around the outside and then shoot the things that are coming up towards you from the center. And I played that when I was a little kid, when I was like one of those Stranger Things kids in arcades, and I was okay at it. But I hadn't played it.
You were out of your mind.
I hadn't played it in years, and I started playing it, and for some reason the drugs just helped me concentrate.
Yeah.
And I started just like, really just nothing existed but that video game.
Yeah.
And then all of a
Mushrooms are pretty
sudden,
cool.
I very kind of dimly realized there was a whole crowd of like little kids around me watching. Nice. And I also realized I'd gotten far, far, far beyond any level that I got to when I was actually good at it.
And you promptly died.
Oh, yeah.
At that moment.
The moment I realized what was going on, I just got, all my lives got killed one after another. And my feeling when I finally lost my last life was relief. Like,
that's over.
I escaped. Like, yeah, I'm not stuck there doing that forever.
What the Moon Underwater right now is currently endorsing is mushrooms fully unlock your potential.
Of video games, for sure.
Whatever it is.
That should be performance-enhancing drugs, though. I mean, I feel like that they should drug test when it,
like goo-goo-eyed and you're dialed in and you're like,
too much. Yeah, it's not fair. Mere mortals can't.
Tempest was hard, too.
Yeah. It was fun.
A hard game.
Yeah.
80s games were hard.
A dial and a shooter, I think, were the only controls, but
great game.
You know what was hard was Defender. Did you ever play Defender?
Oh, I played a lot of Defender.
Defender was hard because, it had an up and down thing and a
and
shooting
the critters
thing.
were coming down.
Yeah.
Right? And then you had sometimes you get the missile upgrades.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember it that much.
I played it on my Apple II.
Yeah.
Apple IIe and Lode Runner. Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
I played a lot of games on it.
Yeah.
That's how I got all nerdy.
Yeah, games.
I had a computer when I was 1985. We got our first computer, an Apple IIe, and I played lots of games on it.
All right.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And I had to type in commands, and that shit I still do today.
Yeah.
I typed in commands today to make stuff happen. Yeah, it's all right.
Nice.
All right,
So, about the movie,
well,
what did
I
we
got
miss?
more.
Okay, let's do it.
So as we progress through,
You feel sorry for Kent.
A
You were
little.
saying that.
yeah, I mean he's pissed about the ice, and then they magically melt the ice, and it turns into a gas right away.
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
Because
They're nerds.
they are.
They can figure out how to do that.
There was a really good Simpsons episode that like Homer goes back to college.
Yeah.
And it's totally a Simpsons take on the 80s like nerd movies.
Oh, nice.
And it's really good. Like
There was also the Rodney Dangerfield movie where he goes
back to school.
Yeah, back to school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to
There's a great line.
round of shots and a pitcher of beers every 15 minutes till somebody passes out. Then
Yeah.
bring one every 10 minutes.
So he's hitting on the professor, the woman, and he goes, "Hey, hey, can I go out with you?" Blah blah blah. She's like, "No, I'm teaching. I have class." And he goes, "Well, why don't you just call me sometime when you have no class?"
Oh, hey, why don't you just call me sometime when you have no class?
The idea
Nice.
that Rodney
He's amazing.
Dangerfield could meet a beautiful woman with that kind
Should
of
we
shtick, but
Oh, now that you mention that,
yeah, let's do it.
Brad, we're back to we're in the school. I've mentioned that Val Kilmer's been listed as one of the top 10 minds, and his comment to somebody who I thought looked like she was 50 was,
Yeah.
"Well, I don't want to seem like I'm all brain and no penis."
Yeah.
And he gets kind of flirty with her, and I was like, she is ancient.
Yeah, she was the one that wanted to screw Mitch.
Yeah.
And she was old. But
yeah.
she ends up marrying the other nerd that's been in the basement.
Laszlo.
Laszlo is
Which
the...
that
Laszlo's-
speaking of shit that doesn't make sense.
You don't like Laszlo's character arc?
No.
Okay. Tell me, how does it not make sense? Wait, this
The
is
closet doesn't make
This
sense.
is the thing that you're telling me doesn't make sense.
The closet doesn't
He
make
goes
none of
into
it
a-
makes any sense.
He goes into a closet and
Where there's-
disappears.
Where there's 5 feet between the walls.
Yeah.
And he disappears down and
There's a secret door.
yeah.
And it goes into an elevator that has like a little like roller coaster car almost.
Right.
That takes him down into this like deep basement where he has a little nerd
I
sanctuary
take
where
it back that I don't like the character arc. Continue.
where he does a bunch of his computing. And he's a warning to Mitch that if you get too deep into this stuff, that's where you end up. You can't ever have a...
But he got out.
He did.
So
Because
so
he-
it's the hey Mitch, hey buddy, stick it out.
Yeah. You're down there for a few
It
years.
was a warning, but it's not anymore.
No.
Because what is he
What?
doing in the basement? In his secret workshop.
Computer stuff.
He is entering the Frito-Lay.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
sweepstakes.
he
And
he figured
figures-
out a way to con
Yeah.
some sort of a game.
He's going to win 32.81% of the prizes.
And he did it.
He did.
He,
so the
he
character
sent
arc
out like
is
a
amazing.
million kind of like, and then he ends up at the end with all this stuff.
And the babe. The
The
older babe.
But he was kind of older now, too,
So-
because it took him a while.
So Laszlo getting laid.
yeah.
So should we talk about our fearless, the other dorks?
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean,
They go and they have a party with the
they set up
beautician.
lots of lasers
Yeah.
from the laser to show everybody where to go.
Oh, yeah.
The beauty school ladies.
At the beauty school, college,
they looked straight out of 1985.
Yeah, they all had the bathing suits, those one-piece bathing
They
suits.
were pretty
and
much like the Jazzercise.
with the high cut on the hips, kind
Totally.
of,
Yeah.
and puffy hair. And it was like, oh, are we going to do mud wrestling, or are we going to do... Yeah, they
Going
were...
down the slide.
Yeah.
I don't think there was mud wrestling.
There wasn't, but it was that kind of...
It was that kind
Those
of vibe.
kind of girls
Yeah.
are always mud wrestling in the 80s.
That's true.
And so these guys, and then the Professor Kent tells on them, like, oh,
Kent tells the
they're
professor,
having a
yeah.
party and they should be working on your project. And he runs down there, and then
They all stopped partying for this guy that half of these, because the women don't know him.
he had absolutely no leverage over anybody except maybe he's intimidating Mitch because he's 15. But it's also, dude, you are a 15-year-old at a alcohol drinking party with a bunch of grown-ups. Like,
It's true.
so yeah, anyway.
But there was...
The nerds were getting
The
some,
nerds
man.
were, they
were
were
getting some.
looking like they had a little game there.
Yeah. Well, and Val Kilmer nerd was walking around without a shirt a lot, looking pretty buff, man.
He
I mean,
was.
not buff, but skinny buff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like he was cut.
Yeah.
And so he was not like, not unattractive, put it that way.
All right,
And,
so how many Oscars do you think he was nominated for? Not for this movie. We're going to bring it back to Val.
wow. Okay. Huh. I don't know that he was in any great movies. Top Gun, I guess. I don't know, 2 or 3 maybe?
None.
Okay, I thought that might have been the trick answer. No, that's too bad.
I thought maybe one,
Well,
but I couldn't think of the movie.
we talked about
Tombstone.
doing Tombstone, but I feel like...
There's too much to like.
Well, here, I read a couple of reviews, and I watched it when it came out, and then I remembered when I read the reviews. Oh, yeah. Every time he is on it as Doc Holliday, it's great. Everything else in the movie sucks. It just, the story isn't
Really?
good. Yeah, I don't remember being engaged
Did you
with
just
it.
ruin Tombstone for me?
You could watch it again and decide whether you like it or not. I just think he was the only, like, watching him do all those great lines, and
That's the one I had.
and
him in my head
he's
that he
all
was
like
nominated.
sweating because he's dying of tuberculosis, but he's still formidable, put it that way.
Yeah.
And
You like him when he's hotter.
that great line when he's kind of a dandy, but he's
Yeah.
still this like scary guy. And he's like, hey, we have unfinished business. And the bad guy's like, oh, come on, Doc. I was just kidding. I wasn't.
That's good.
It's good, man. He's scary. He was just like a serious guy.
Yeah.
What else was he good in?
Well, I wanted to like him in Batman.
yeah, he
It
was
kind of
okay.
a tough act to follow.
Yeah.
Right?
I
Was
don't
he
know.
right after Michael Keaton?
Yeah.
I think he was.
I don't remember. I don't know all those
It
Batmans.
was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. What else?
Iceman, I mean, who's the bad guy?
Yeah.
Top Gun. The Doors is what I was thinking maybe
Oh,
he was
yeah.
nominated for.
It does seem like he would.
You know, I never saw that.
I didn't either.
Huh.
I don't like biopics, man. I
like
hate
to
them
pronounce
all.
it biopic.
I know you do. That's wrong.
Oh.
No, I don't know. No, I'm not. I'm not that much of a prescriptivist. I'm more of a descriptivist in that way. Like, everybody gets to pronounce it the way they pronounce it.
Yeah.
And
Biopic.
biopic.
Like myopic, even though it's spelled way differently.
Yeah. But no, I don't like those things. I didn't watch the Dylan one, any of the Dylan ones, and I didn't.
Wait, the Dylan ones.
There's this new Bob Dylan movie.
Oh, it was good.
Yeah.
But
everybody says.
But it was good, but there wasn't really a story. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's not, as it's referred to in
There
the film
never
days,
are.
I believe,
There
a
never
MacGuffin.
Okay.
Nothing's driving the
There's
plot.
never a story on these movies because they're about somebody's entire life. And
Forrest Gump.
even, and this may be one of the better biopics out there, and everybody loved it and fell all over themselves. But I still thought it rose up to the level of pretty good movie, not great. And that's Oppenheimer. I just noticed that, like, what's the story? Is it the story about him being messed with in the whole kind of McCarthyism thing, or is it him wrestling with, are they going to get the bomb before the Nazis, or is it him
there's not
having
one
an affair?
thing.
It's everything. It's all these things happening, and it just like went on for a long, long time. And I was just like, it's okay, but it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
So anyway,
okay. I guess I liked it.
I think it's a. Yeah, but we know how your taste is.
Well, I mean, I recommended this movie.
I wish
so.
I wish I was like you, easily amused.
Yeah. I know. It's great living in my world.
Yeah. So I don't know what. I have one more note here. I don't have a whole lot of notes.
I don't either.
And I thought it was pretty interesting about you. Well, you saying that you kind of sympathize with Kent to a degree, and I didn't watching it, but at the very end, they were completely 100% okay with killing him because he went into the house that was targeted for the laser without him knowing it, and for no good reason. They told him to go to the house just as a prank.
So we should talk about this if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
The laser that we were talking about, they reprogram it so that it's going to heat up a bunch of popcorn. Oh, there's the callback to him hating the popcorn.
They shoot at the professor's house.
At the professor's house that blows up the biggest thing of Jiffy Pop stove top that you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And somehow the entire house fills up with popcorn. Even after the laser has stopped firing, it's still so hot that it's just cooking all that popcorn, and the roof even comes off.
Yeah, and the laser doesn't even, it takes a while for the laser to go through, like, the stained glass window.
Doesn't make any sense.
Like, even though
he has his religious experience, because God's talking, Jesus is talking to him through a filling.
They knock him out with knockout gas and then put a filling in his tooth that has a speaker so that they can talk to him in his own head.
Yeah.
And then they say it's Jesus,
really bad.
And he starts going crazy, of course. And he goes, "Hey, quit touching yourself." And he's like, "Oh, I didn't." And anyway, it's pretty funny.
Oh, I didn't. It's funnier after 2 beers, I can tell you that.
And then they get him to go, but then he goes into the house.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh well."
Well, they're like, no, Ken, don't go in. And then as he's in there, the house basically fills and blows up with popcorn, and he does come out.
Yeah.
And he's okay.
And the professor hates popcorn and also hates that dog, and the house fills with popcorn, and then the dog comes up to him, and that's when it's the end.
So he hates that dog and popcorn.
Yeah. And they also, like, have to, Val Kilmer and Mitch have to sneak in onto the Air Force base. I don't remember the character's name.
I don't either.
So they have to sneak onto the Air Force base, and they get through security with badly forged badges, and then they're just walking around into the most, apparently one of the more top secret weapons programs,
as one does,
and they just kind of show up and they just do all kinds of shenanigans, and they get away with it.
Yeah.
And they reprogram the thing to, instead of hitting its target, which is just a practice target.
Hard-coded, as we would say.
What's that?
It would be hard-coded on the chip they put in.
Oh.
It's hard-coded in the code. And
they have to put a new chip
they
in.
Put a chip
that has
got the program on it.
But how come Laszlo had to, like, manually type in the coordinates?
Oh.
Wouldn't they have done that on the chip beforehand?
Not like the coordinates change. In my head, it was hard-coded because I'm a nerd.
That's how they would.
That it's hard-coded.
That's how they would do it. They put a new chip in.
Laszlo was typing in something?
Yeah.
He was
typing in the latitude, longitude stuff.
Weird.
And, like, yeah.
This was pre-interwebs.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't have made any sense.
But they were on a phone. Maybe
Okay.
maybe this movie invented the internet.
Probably.
Along with, well, no. You know who invented the internet?
Oh, I do.
Is Terminal Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say Al Gore.
Al Gore did, yeah.
I love it when he claimed that.
Yeah, that was a little bit of an overstep. I did hear one of his political rivals kind of chuckle about that. He goes, yeah, but I was there in those. He was actually pretty important to the whole process.
Well, there was legislation that needed to get passed in order to open it up because it was military only.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a bit of an overstatement, I suppose.
But then when you say it, and then
I invented the internet.
Yeah, that's not great. When that's clearly, hopefully not what he meant. I think. I mean, I'm going to give him a break here, but
he didn't mean it. He's just saying it because it made it sound like he wanted to take credit.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I don't know that would get you a lot of credit to say, hey, I invented all this fuckery that is ruining our...
Zuck invented Facebook. Oh, I've seen The Social Network. Never mind. Yeah. Is there one more thing that I wanted to cover? I think that's all I got.
That's it. All right. Well, that's Real Genius. An
hour's worth of Real Genius. An okay 80s movie.
Yeah.
Or a really good 80s movie.
I think it was a good movie for that. It was probably better than average.
It felt very theatrical, like it was a play.
It was... Yeah, the acting felt a little trying too hard.
Except for Val.
I think he was good, but
great.
I also think he was trying to be like young Bill Murray, and I don't think he had that. I think he probably was too good looking. Like Bill Murray had that like hangdog sad looking face, resting sad face. So he can deliver lines in a way, and I think that this character wasn't able to quite do that.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, people.
See y'all. Catch y'all next time.
Breaking the 180-degree rule.